It was close to midnight when the rain finally stopped, but the air outside my apartment still smelled like wet concrete and exhaustion. I had just finished the late shift at the diner, my feet aching, hair frizzy from steam and grease, aprons stained with coffee I didn't even remember spilling. Typical Thursday night. Typical struggling single mom life. I pushed open the squeaky door of my one-bedroom apartment, balancing my purse, a bag of discount groceries, and the pink unicorn backpack my daughter insisted on carrying everywhere, even when she wasn't with me. Mamaya. A small missile in pajamas hurtled toward me. I dropped everything to catch her. Luna wrapped her arms around my neck, warm and soft, smelling faintly of peanut butter and shampoo. "You're supposed to be asleep," I murmured into her hair. "I tried," she said seriously, wide brown eyes blinking at me. But the thunder was too loud, and then the lights flickered, and I got scared. "So I waited for you." Guilt stabbed me in the same familiar spot it always did. I worked nights because it paid 50 cents more per hour. 50 cents meant milk, gas, rent. Everything counted. "I'm here now," I whispered, squeezing her. She relaxed instantly, because to her, I was safety. To me, she was everything. I tucked her back into our shared bed, kissed her forehead, and prayed she wouldn't wake when I started crying later. Crying had become a quiet evening hobby these days. Bills were late. Rent was late. My car battery had died again. And the envelope from the landlord tucked under the table coaster, red ink, bold letters, was enough to make my chest seize every time I glanced at it. I heated up leftover soup, sat at the edge of the bed, and breathed through the heaviness crawling up my throat. That's when it happened. The knock. Sharp. Hard. Urgent. Not a neighbor. Not the building manager. Not anyone who belonged in this rundown complex where people whispered instead of knocking. My whole body went rigid. Luna stirred beside me. "Shh," I whispered, brushing her hair back. I slipped silently from the bed and crossed the living room, stepping over the broken heater I'd been meaning to fix. My heart pounded so hard it felt like it might shake the floorboards. Another knock. Louder. My stomach twisted. At this hour? In this neighborhood? I grabbed the baseball bat I kept behind the door. 3 years of being a single mom had taught me, fear was a luxury I couldn't afford. I pressed my eye to the peephole and froze. A man stood just inches from the door. Tall. Broad shoulders. Dark hair plastered to his forehead from rain. His face ghost pale, jaw tight, eyes sharp even through the scratched glass. But that wasn't what took my breath away. It was what he held. Not a gun. Not a weapon. 2 babies. Wrapped in blankets, one in each arm. His grip on the car seats was desperate, knuckles white, arms trembling like he barely had the strength to hold them up. His shirt, soaked. Not with rain. With blood. My heart launched into my throat. He swayed, bracing himself against the wall, chest rising in fast, shallow breaths. He wasn't knocking anymore, he didn't have the strength. His hand hovered near the door like he meant to but couldn't. "Please," his voice was deep, rough, accented Italian maybe. "Open the door. My children, please." My fingers tightened on the bat. This could be a trap. A distraction. A setup. People used kids for awful things. But those babies, they weren't crying. They weren't even fully awake. Their tiny fists twitched inside their blankets, unaware of the blood on their father's clothes. Or the fact he was about to collapse on my doormat. I swallowed hard, torn between instinct and compassion, both battling fiercely inside me. Then Luna's soft voice floated from the bedroom. "Mama?" That did it. I unlocked the door and yanked it open. The man pitched forward instantly, and I lunged to catch the nearest infant seat before it tilted dangerously. He slammed his palm on the doorframe, stopping his fall by sheer will. Up close, he looked worse. Eyes glassy. Skin gray. Sweat mixed with rain. blood spreading beneath his jacket. His lips trembled with the effort to stay conscious. What happened? I breathed. He tried to answer, but his knees buckled. I dropped the bat and grabbed his elbow, surprising myself with the strength adrenaline gave me. We need help, he rasped. His voice cracked. Don't call police. My pulse shot up. I wasn't going to call. Promise me, he choked out. No police. No hospital. I stared at him. At the babies. At the blood. I'm not a doctor, I stammered. You're the only one here, he whispered. His grip tightened around the infant seats like they were the only things keeping him alive. Please, he said again. That word ruined me. I stepped aside. Come in. Quickly. He stumbled in, nearly collapsing onto my couch. I rushed forward, steadying him, then carefully placed the infant seats on the floor beside him. He sagged back, eyes flickering shut for a moment. No, hey. I tapped his cheek. Stay with me. His dark eyes opened, unfocused but intense. They're safe? The babies? Yes, I said firmly. They're right here. They're okay. He exhaled, like that was all that mattered. My hands shook as I grabbed towels, warm water, my tiny first aid kit, anything that could help. Tell me your name, I said while lifting his jacket away from the wound on his side. He hissed in pain. Raphael. And them? I nodded to the twins. A soft, almost broken smile touched his mouth. Adriano. And Elisa. Beautiful names. Beautiful babies. Wrong place. Wrong night. And wrong situation. Because this man wasn't a random mugging victim. I could feel it. Something darker clung to him, danger, violence, shadows too heavy for a normal life. He closed his eyes again, jaw clenched, fists trembling. I leaned closer. Raphael, please don't pass out. I need you awake. His voice dropped to a whisper. If I sleep, they'll find us. Who? I breathed. But he didn't answer that. Instead, his gaze locked onto mine. Intense. Burning. I don't know you, he said quietly. But you opened the door. You saved my children. For that. I will never forget you. A chill rushed down my spine. Then he did something that scared me more than the blood or the knock or the storm outside. He reached for my hand. Held it. And whispered. Don't be afraid. I won't let anything happen to you. His promise felt like a threat wrapped in devotion. And I didn't know yet that the man bleeding on my couch wasn't just a stranger. He was Rafael De Luca. The most feared and hunted Italian Mafia heir in the country. But that night, he was just a broken father holding his babies. And I was the fool who opened the door. I didn't realize how badly he was bleeding until I pulled off his jacket. The fabric clung to his side, soaked and sticky. When it peeled away, Raphael sucked in a sharp breath, knuckles whitening around the couch cushion. Okay, I whispered, more to myself than him. It's bad, but I've seen worse. That was a lie. The worst I'd ever seen was when Luna tripped and chipped her tooth. This was a whole different universe of danger. He watched me through half-lidded eyes. Not distrustful, just exhausted. His gaze flicked between me and the twins on the carpet. They okay? He asked, voice raw. Sleeping, I said. Safe. His shoulders relaxed. For a moment, he looked so young. So human. So breakable. I tried to focus, but my hands were shaking. I forced myself to breathe and grabbed scissors to cut his shirt open. He didn't flinch. Just stared at the ceiling like he'd lived through worse pain. Tell me what happened, I said, dabbing warm water around the wound. He hesitated. Wrong place. Wrong people. Not an answer. But this wasn't the time to push. I pressed a folded towel against the wound and he groaned, low and guttural. "Sorry," I said quickly. "It's fine," he murmured. "You're helping." Helping. That word hit deeper than it should have. People didn't ask me for help. They asked me for extra shifts, rent money, babysitting, patience. But help? That was rare. "Did you lose a lot of blood before you got here?" I didn't count. His lips twitched into a half smile, then he winced. But I kept walking. "With 2 infants. I blurted. "Raphael, that's insane." His eyes shifted toward the twins. I didn't have a choice. I swallowed hard. "Are they yours?" The way his entire expression softened told me before he spoke. "My whole world," he whispered. Something in my chest tugged sharply. A good father was a rare thing. A man willing to bleed for his children, even rarer. "Who shot you?" I asked. His jaw tightened. For a moment, his eyes turned cold. Lethal. A different version of him surfaced, darker, sharper. "Someone who won't get a second chance," he said quietly. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a random mugging. This wasn't even a personal attack. This was war. I looked at the twins sleeping peacefully on my ugly thrift store rug, then back at their father bleeding on my couch. "What do you need?" I asked. He blinked, as if surprised. "Just time," he breathed. "A few hours to recover. Somewhere safe for them." His protective gaze didn't leave the babies for a second. "How did you even find my apartment?" I asked. His eyes flicked toward the window. "Your kitchen light." It was the only one still on in the whole building. My breath caught. The only home with a light, a beacon. I looked away, pretending that didn't mean something. "Listen," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "You can stay until morning. But after that..." A sudden knock, hard, echoing, shattered the air. Every muscle in Raphael's body went rigid. My heart seized. Not again. Not another one. Raphael sat upright despite the pain, instincts sharp as knives. He grabbed the edge of the couch to steady himself. "Don't answer," he hissed. The knock came again. Louder. I grabbed the bat again and scooped up Luna, who had wandered sleepily into the living room. "Mama," she mumbled. I pressed her against my chest. "It's okay, baby." Raphael motioned toward the twins. "Take them. Hide in the bedroom." I gaped at him. "I can't carry 2 car seats and a child." He stood. Actually stood. Bleeding, shaking, barely breathing, but he stood. "I'll take them," he whispered, grabbing both infant seats with trembling hands. "No, you're hurt. I'd die before I let anyone touch them." His voice was pure steel. And something inside me shifted. Fear melted into instinct. We moved quickly, quietly, into the bedroom, closing the door softly behind us. Luna clung to my shirt, eyes wide. Raphael set the seats on the bed and leaned heavily against the wall, breathing hard. We held our breath. Another knock. Then silence. A long, suffocating silence. I looked at Raphael. His expression was a storm, anger, fear, calculation. "Who is that?" I whispered. "Someone who followed us," he murmured. No, this can't be happening." "It is," he said gently but firmly. "And you need to stay quiet." We waited. Seconds stretched like hours. Then footsteps retreated slowly down the hall. Raphael slumped in the corner, breath shaking. The storm outside might have stopped, but a new one had entered my home. And this time, I wasn't sure anyone inside my apartment would survive it. The building was silent again, but my chest felt like it was being crushed from the inside. I pressed my ear to the door, trying to hear anything of footsteps, whispers, breathing. Nothing. Finally, I turned back to Raphael. His eyes were closed, but he wasn't unconscious. His chest rose and fell in fast, controlled breaths. You shouldn't be standing, I whispered. His eyes opened. They were darker than before. Steadier. Are you hurt? The question startled me. He was bleeding in my bedroom, and he was asking about me. No, I said. Just terrified. He leaned his head back against the wall. You should be. The honesty in those 3 words chilled me. Luna tugged my sleeve. Mama, who was knocking? I bent to her level, brushing her hair gently. Just someone at the wrong door, baby. Raphael shook his head faintly behind her. We both knew it wasn't the wrong door. I set Luna on the bed next to the twins, their tiny breaths soft and even. They looked so peaceful. Too peaceful for the chaos swirling around us. Raphael, I whispered, what have you dragged into my home? He stared at the floor for a long moment. Then. I shouldn't have come here. My heart clenched. Not because I wanted him here. God, no. I wanted him far away from my daughter, from this building, from everyone I loved. But hearing him regret it. Why did you? I asked. He lifted his gaze. Because you were the only light I saw. There was something in the way he said it. Raw. Unfiltered. I didn't mean to involve you. I only meant to keep the twins alive. He looked at them with reverence, like they were the only good thing in his life. I didn't expect the danger to follow. What danger? I whispered. He hesitated. A man who wants to hurt me. And anyone near me. Why? What did you do? His jaw flexed. Something he won't forgive. That wasn't an answer, but it wasn't nothing. You can't stay here, I said softly. My daughter. I know. His eyes fell. As soon as the sun is up, I'll leave. And the babies? They stay with me. Always. The absolute conviction in his voice made my chest ache. I sat across from him, torn between fear and curiosity. So, you and your kids got attacked? Why? His eyes scanned my face like he was making a decision. Then he said something that changed everything. They weren't supposed to be with me tonight. The attack wasn't meant for them. What do you mean? He exhaled slowly, every word weighted. There was betrayal. Someone close. They told my enemies where I'd be. Enemies? My stomach twisted. He nodded. The kind who shoot first. Everything inside me screamed to run. Grab Luna. Leave. Hide. But something rooted me in place. Are you involved in something illegal? I asked. He didn't flinch. Yes. The room spun. Luna snuggled beside the babies, oblivious. I stared at Raphael with new eyes. Not just a wounded man. Not just a father. Something darker. My voice trembled. What kind of illegal? He met my gaze without fear or shame. The kind that makes me hunted, he said softly. The kind that gets good people killed if they're near me. Before I could respond, a baby whined softly. Elisa. Her tiny lips puckered in a sleepy cry. Raphael's whole body moved before his mind did. Instinct. He reached for her, winced with pain, but fought through it. He rocked her gently, his large hand cradling her tiny head. The sight knocked the breath out of me. A dangerous man. But a gentle father. He soothed her with soft Italian words, and I felt something pull inside me, something I didn't want to examine. She shouldn't grow up in this world, he whispered. None of them should. I rubbed my hands over my face. Raphael. I have no idea who you are. He looked at me with a sadness that felt ancient. And you're safer that way. My heart pounded. My mind spun. But I couldn't stop noticing the way he held his daughter, as if the earth revolved around her. Why don't you call someone? I asked quietly. A friend? Family? He laughed without humor. Family is the problem. Then call the police. He met my gaze sharply. I told you. No police. Ever. Why? Because police don't protect people like me. His mouth twisted. And they don't protect babies with my last name. A chill ran down my spine. What is your last name? I asked. He hesitated. Then. DeLuca. I froze. I knew that name. Everyone in the city did. I leaned back slowly, breath stuck in my throat. You're that DeLuca? His eyes darkened. Yes. My entire world tilted. The man bleeding on my couch wasn't just dangerous. He was the heir to the most powerful mafia family on the East Coast. And I had let him in. I didn't speak. Couldn't speak. The name DeLuca had weight in this city, heavy, violent, whispered in alleys and boardrooms alike. You didn't say it loudly. You didn't cross paths with it. You didn't survive if you did. And he was sitting on my bedroom floor. Bleeding. Holding his children. Breathing the same air as my daughter. My pulse hammered so loudly I thought it would wake the neighbors. Raphael studied my expression quietly. You're afraid, he said. Shouldn't I be? I whispered. You should. No apology. No excuses. Just truth. But then, the softness. I won't hurt you. Or her. His gaze flicked to Luna. I swear. The strange thing was, I believed him. The terrifying thing was, I believed him. Why come here? I asked again, voice barely steady. You could have gone anywhere. No, he murmured. Not with them. I needed somewhere fast. Somewhere no one would expect. A place with a light on. That's not enough reason. He shook his head weakly. It's the only reason that saved their lives. His vulnerability disarmed me. His honesty terrified me. His presence electrified every corner of the room. My breaths grew shallow. I felt like a butterfly pinned under glass. You should leave at dawn, I whispered. I will. He paused. But before that. I need your help again. My heart stopped. With what? He nodded toward the wound on his side. It's reopening. If I pass out before sunrise, the twins won't make it far. That was all it took. The survival of innocent babies overrode every fear, every instinct. I stood and grabbed my first aid kit. Lie down. He eyed me. Bossy. Bleeding, I retorted. He smirked faintly, then lay on his back on the thin carpet. The shirt clung to his chest, muscles tense, breath uneven. I pushed the fabric aside and swallowed hard. The wound was angry, swollen, bleeding again. I pulled out antiseptic, gauze, tape, and took a deep breath. This will hurt. He didn't flinch. Do it. I cleaned the wound, pressing firmly. He clenched his jaw but stayed silent, though the veins on his neck strained. My hands brushed his skin, hot, fevered. Raphael, I murmured. This is infected. You need a hospital. No hospital, he said through clenched teeth. You're going to pass out. I've survived worse. I don't care. My voice cracked. Your kids need you alive. That got his attention. His eyes snapped to mine, not sharp, not cold, but something else entirely. Gratitude. Respect. And something darker, warmer, heavier. Say it again, he murmured. What? That they need me. My cheeks warmed. They do. His breath shuddered. They're all I have left. The quiet confession hit me square in the chest. I taped fresh bandages across his torso as he watched me with that unreadable expression. My fingers trembled slightly, but I forced myself to stay steady. When I finished, he exhaled softly. Thank you. I'm not done, I said, reaching for the pain meds I had left from an old prescription. Take this. It'll help. He swallowed the pill without question. You shouldn't trust me, he said after a moment. I don't, I whispered. You shouldn't help me. I'm not helping you, I murmured. I'm helping them. He nodded slowly. Even more dangerous. That makes you part of this now. A chill raced through me. Part of what? My world. I shook my head quickly. No. This ends tonight. No, he murmured. It starts tonight. I don't want any part of your world. He watched me with the intensity of someone who saw more than I wanted to reveal. You already stepped into it. The room grew quiet. The twins slept. Luna curled against the pillows. The rain began again outside, soft and steady. And Rafael DeLuca, dangerous, hunted, bleeding, sat on my floor like he belonged nowhere and everywhere at once. Suddenly he stiffened, eyes narrowing. What? I whispered. Car, he murmured. Outside. I moved to the window slowly, pulling the curtain just enough to peek through. A black SUV idled across the street. Tinted windows. No lights. Raphael stood, pain forgotten, instincts overriding blood loss. Get the kids, he said. My entire body went cold. Who is that? His expression turned lethal. People who want my children as leverage. Fear slammed into my chest. Raphael. Pack your things. What? You're not staying here, he snapped. They know this place now. We need to move. We? No, I'm not going with you. You are. His voice dropped into something dark, commanding. I'm not leaving you and your daughter here to die. My knees nearly buckled. Die? Raphael. He grabbed my shoulders gently but firmly. I won't let anything happen to you. Why? I whispered, breath trembling. Why do you care? He stared at me like the answer was obvious. Because you opened the door. I should have run. I should have grabbed Luna, snatched whatever I could carry, and bolted the moment he said the word die. But instead, I stood frozen, staring at the man who was turning my world inside out. Raphael, I whispered, I can't just leave. This is my home. He glanced around the cracked walls, peeling paint, flickering lights. This is a box, he said quietly. Not a home. And staying here means you won't survive the night. I flinched. You can't know that. I do. His voice was soft but brutal. Because the men outside don't leave witnesses. My stomach twisted violently. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. They saw me enter this building. They won't leave until they find me, or proof of me. And if they find us instead? I whispered. His jaw clenched. Not an option. He moved to the bed, lifted the twins with practiced speed despite his injury. They stirred but didn't cry. You need to take Luna, he said. Luna blinked awake, rubbing her eyes. Mama? Why are we up? I forced a smile. We're going on a little trip, baby. Now, she asked, yawning. Yes, Raphael said softly, his voice gentler with her than I'd ever heard. Now. I grabbed a bag and shoved essentials inside with trembling hands, diapers, wipes, a few clothes, Luna's favorite stuffed bunny, my wallet. The whole time my heart pounded like a war drum. Outside, the SUV remained still. Watching. Isn't there another way? I whispered. No, Raphael's voice was final. We walk out the back. Quiet. Slow. He shifted the car seats, grimacing in pain. Are you sure you can carry them? I asked. He nodded once. Pain comes second. They come first. Something cracked inside me at the way he said that. We slipped into the hallway. It smelled like mildew and old cigarettes. Raphael walked ahead, silent and alert. I carried Luna, who buried her face in my shoulder. When we reached the rear exit, he paused. Stay behind me, he whispered. I swallowed hard and nodded. He pushed the door open, and cold night air rushed in. I expected gunshots. Shouting. Men. But there was nothing. Nothing except a low hum from the streetlights. This way, Raphael murmured. We moved quickly, shadows stretching behind us. My heart was so loud I was sure someone could hear it. We reached a small alleyway behind the building. Raphael stopped suddenly, eyes narrowing. Before I could ask what was wrong, a figure stepped out from behind a dumpster. I almost screamed, but Raphael lifted a hand. Luca, he said with relief. The man was tall, dressed in black, alert eyes scanning the darkness. He wasn't armed openly, but danger clung to him like a scent. He moved toward Raphael. You're hurt. No time, Raphael said. We need the car. Luca's eyes flicked to me and Luna, then the twins. Something like surprise and curiosity passed over his face. This is her, he said quietly. I stiffened. Her? Raphael's voice was low. She helped me. Luca nodded once. Not judgmental. Just measuring. Cars around the corner, he said. We moved it when we saw the SUV waiting. That sent a fresh wave of fear through me. They know you came here, Luca continued. They're watching the front. We go now, Raphael said. Wait, I whispered, gripping Luna as panic surged. Where are we going? Raphael looked at me, unreadable. Somewhere safe. For who? I demanded. For you? Or for us? For all of you, he said firmly. I'm not letting them hurt you. I'm not part of this, I whispered. I don't belong in your world. You stepped into it the moment you opened the door. That's not fair. No, he agreed softly. It's fate. I didn't understand what he meant. Not yet. But I didn't have time to argue. Luca gestured sharply. Move. We began walking again. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Followed. Hunted. Every dark window felt like eyes. Every shadow like a person. Then, as we turned the corner, headlights flared. I gasped, but it wasn't the SUV from before. It was a black sedan. Armored. Sleek. Silent. Raphael exhaled in relief. Our ride. Luca opened the back door. Get in. I hesitated, clutching Luna. Raphael leaned close. Trust me. Why should I? Because you saved my children, he murmured. And in my world, that means you belong to my protection now. Belong. The word branded my skin. I don't want your protection, I whispered. Doesn't matter, he replied softly. You have it. Before I could protest again, a sudden scream tore through the street. Luca shoved Raphael down. I shielded Luna instinctively. Gunshots exploded behind us. The crack of gunfire ripped through the air, sharp and violent. I screamed, clutching Luna to my chest, heart lurching into my throat. Get down. Raphael barked. Luca dragged him behind the car as bullets pinged against metal, sparks flying. I dove behind the open door, shielding Luna with my body. She sobbed into my neck, tiny hands shaking. I'd never felt fear like this. Raw. Animal. Terrifying. Raphael shoved the twins' car seats under the vehicle, shielding them. Then he crawled toward me, dragging himself with one arm, face twisted in pain. Are you hit? He demanded, eyes wild. No, I gasped. Luna, she's okay. He nodded sharply. Stay down. Luca fired back, 3 precise shots. The street went eerily quiet. Then. They're down, Luca said, voice calm, controlled. 2 men. No more movement. Raphael exhaled shakily and brushed my cheek with trembling fingers. You okay? His gentleness after violence nearly broke me. I shouldn't be here, I whispered, hand trembling against Luna's head. This is insane. This is not my life. No, he said softly, eyes burning into mine. But it is mine. And for one night, they collided. Why? Why us? Why me? My voice cracked. Because fate is cruel, he murmured. And merciful. Sometimes at the same time. His gaze held something heavy. Something dangerous. Something tender. Luca approached. We need to move. More will come. Raphael took a breath, wincing. Help me up. Luca hauled him to his feet. Raphael limped to the twins, checked their faces, kissed their foreheads, whispering soft words in Italian. Then he turned to me. Get in the car. Raphael, I whispered, I can't just leave my apartment. It's not safe anymore. They'll search every unit. I have nothing with me. You have your daughter. That's enough. But. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Listen to me, Ava. My name on his lips hit like a jolt. I owe you a debt I can never repay. I won't let anything happen to you. Or to her. But I don't want to be part of your war. And you won't be, he said fiercely. I swear. Just until this night is over. Just until I know you're safe. I hesitated, torn between terror and logic and something else I refused to name. Then another car turned onto the street. Luca swore under his breath. We need to go. Now. Raphael's voice dropped into something primal. Ava. Choose. Gunfire echoed again. And I made the decision that would change everything. I got in the car. The moment the doors closed, the sedan peeled away from the curb, engine roaring. I clutched Luna, feeling her heartbeat against mine. Raphael sat in the front seat, head tilted back, breathing hard. Luca drove like a man possessed, weaving through empty streets. Minutes passed in tense silence. I finally found my voice. What happens now? Raphael turned his head slightly, looking at me through the rearview mirror. Something in his expression softened. Now, he said quietly. I keep my promise. What promise? That nothing will hurt you, he whispered. Not while I'm alive. I swallowed hard. And after tonight? He hesitated. Then? You'll never see me again. Something in my chest twisted unexpectedly. He continued, voice distant. I'll take you somewhere safe. A motel under a different name. Protected. Watched. They won't find you. You and Luna will go back to your normal life. This night will disappear. And you? I asked before I could stop myself. I'll disappear too. The sudden ache in my chest felt irrational, unwanted. You're leaving? I whispered. It's better that way, he murmured. My world destroys everything it touches. I won't let it touch you again. Silence wrapped around us like a blanket, heavy, suffocating. Finally, the car slowed and pulled into a tiny roadside motel, faded neon sign flickering. Luca got out first, scanning the area. Clear. Raphael turned in his seat, winced, and reached back. His fingers brushed my hand. Thank you, he said softly. For saving my children. For saving me. I didn't save you, I whispered. I just opened a door. And that, he said, voice thickening, is something no one has ever done for me. He started to open his door, but stopped. Ava? Yes? You'll be safe. I promise. Then he stepped out into the night. Luca helped him toward a second car waiting nearby, a sleek black one I hadn't noticed. Raphael turned back once. His eyes met mine. And for a moment, just a moment, it felt like the world stilled. Then he got into the other car. And disappeared into the darkness. I stood in the motel doorway, Luna in my arms, the twins' cries faint in the distance as Luca secured them elsewhere. Raphael de Luca. A bleeding stranger with 2 babies. A mafia heir I should have run from. Gone as suddenly as he arrived. Leaving only the echo of gunfire. A motel room key. And a promise I wasn't sure I wanted. I didn't know then that this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Because men like him don't walk out of your life. Not when they've marked you. Not when they owe you. Not when they've decided you're theirs to protect. And Raphael had decided something that night. I wasn't done with him. And he wasn't done with me.